Oh, hello, good evening. Will you be joining us for dinner tonight? Wonderful. May I just have the name on your reservation, please? Wonderful. Let's take a peek. Okay, 7 o'clock seating, and there you are, right there. Perfect. Now I see we have a party of one for an individual bistro table. Is that correct? Perfect. Well, it's our pleasure to host you tonight, and before I guide you into your experience, may I just confirm if you have any allergies or dietary concerns I might make the chef aware of? Certainly. I'll make a little note to pass along to our chef. Oh, it's no trouble at all. This is exactly what we hope for, is the chance to serve you as best we can. And we are happy to provide anything that will make the evening more comfortable or enjoyable for you. So, wonderful. And may I inquire if it is your first time joining us here at the Chronicle History Bistro? It is. Well, welcome. Yes, that's true. The wait lists can get rather lengthy, can't they? Yes, especially for tonight. A very, very popular experience. The menu of the first class dining room on the RMS Titanic. Are you a big fan of nautical history or ships or... Yes. The history of transatlantic travel in this era is actually fascinating, isn't it? Well, we will be delving into all of that tonight. You will enjoy, alongside all of the courses, the sumptuous tastes of the Titanic, you will be treated to intermittent lectures from experts who will kind of guide you through the experience and talk about how some of the ingredients and dishes were sourced, how they were inspired, etc. It's quite fascinating. I have sat through this service myself, or I should say, I have worked this service myself. I don't sit very much, as you imagine, correct? Yes, but I can highly recommend it. I think you're in for a treat, and if I might add, quite a lot of food. Yes, we try to replicate the exact menu. In this case, we're very lucky because certain passengers of the Titanic were able to retain some of these menus for history. However, they probably didn't realize at the time they were mostly kept as souvenirs, or in some cases even just as scrap paper to write on. Yes, a few passengers had taken the menus to write on the back of correspondences to friends and family to make them jealous. Yes, so we have the exact menu. In fact, you will be given a replica menu, yes, that you can keep. Oh, they're very nice, in fact. They are embossed just the same way the original menus were, and printed on the same thickness of cardstock, so the attention to detail is phenomenal, in my opinion. Yes. Well, we hope you'll enjoy it. So, what's going to happen is in just a moment, I will be taking you to your seat. Yes, actually, we serve as sort of individual guides for our passengers, our diners. So, I will be with you through the span of seating and walking you through our menu, including cocktails, if you should wish to partake. And that way, if you need anything at all throughout the night, you can just flag me down. My name is Spring. I look forward to serving you tonight. And for now, if you would care to have a seat anywhere in our waiting area, we will be out very, very shortly to help get you to your table. You will have actually a very nice view of the serving and the lectures from your bistro table. I think it's an excellent way to enjoy tonight's, dare I say, feast. Again, a lot of food, many courses were served and will be served tonight. So, yes, well, like I said, please have a seat, and I will come individually to collect you and bring you to your table and get you started in just a moment. Great. And I hope you will enjoy the delicious food and fare of the evening. Speaking of delectable meals that you can't wait to eat, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Home Chef. And I know you hear about a whole lot of meal kits from a whole lot of people, but I have used Home Chef in my house for years, as evidenced by binders full of Home Chef recipes. They're full of some of my favorites, and I love that Home Chef actually gives you nice printouts of all of these so that if you want to make something again, you can. You'll have all of the ingredients and pictures too. I love to see a picture of the way it's supposed to turn out. But I am so happy to tell you all about Home Chef because I tell my friends and family about them all the time too. I'm thankful to Home Chef for sponsoring today's video because I am adding to my bursting binder of Home Chef recipes all the time. And when I have a lot on my plate, there's nothing easier than plating a Home Chef meal kit because they take prep work and intensive cleanup off my to-do list. I really can't stand prepping. Onions make me cry. They seriously hurt my eyes. So I especially love the variety from Home Chef. Feeding my family can be tricky. I'm an herbivore, my husband's an omnivore, and my son is what I call a choosy-vor. He's very picky, and what sounds good today might be a big no thank you tomorrow. But I've always found deliciously convenient meal choices with Home Chef, with everything from traditional meal kits to express meals and even easy snacks and breakfasts. And they have these really intuitive filters, so you can search meals by things like vegetarian, protein-packed, calorie-conscious, and more. You can also get quick meal options like oven-ready, 15-minute meals, and fast and fresh. So there's options for even the most hectic or, let's be honest, lazy days. A third-party survey found that Home Chef ranks #1 in both taste and quality, and having tried a lot of other meal kits, as I said, this is one of the main reasons I stay with Home Chef. It's just always good. You can head to homechef.yt.link/CT2KSXJ. I'll put that in the description to get 50% off and free shipping on your first Home Chef box with code SPRINGBOK50. Again, use code SPRINGBOK50 for free shipping and 50% off your first box. And thank you for listening. Sponsors help me create more quality content, and that starts and ends with you. So thank you again. And now back to our sumptuous Titanic meal, which I promise only features icebergs in the lettuce. So now that you're seated, I am very excited to introduce our menus. We will start with the cocktail menu, which is a lot of fun, and I can give that to you to peruse. Yes, it is a bit dark in here with all the candles, and I would be happy to help walk you through this menu and our main menu if you would like. No, it's my pleasure. So we will go through the cocktail menu first, and then we will get to talking about the main event. Yes, as I said before, it's quite sumptuous. The price of a first class ticket for the Titanic would have been between, and take this with a grain of salt, with a grain of sea salt, as it were. It is quite difficult to make a perfect estimate with inflation and things like that, because there's so many factors when we try to translate the money of yesteryear to modern amounts. Yes, but the first class ticket at the time would have cost around $3,000 at the low end. Yes, the low end. And that would be for a very simple state room. And then at the higher end, I've heard up to $110,000 for the suite. Oh yes, very luxurious. And beyond that, being on the maiden voyage of the Titanic was certainly a status symbol in and of itself. It was sort of a who's who of American and European society. Yes. Well, we'll actually talk about a couple of those famous passengers as we go through our list. So you may be surprised or not to hear about some of the very wealthy passengers on board. Yes, so it was a very upscale event. One thing that I find very interesting, and they'll talk more in depth about this, about how the Titanic helped to make dining out a bit more democratic, was that many of the first class passengers at this time, especially the European passengers, would not have been yet accustomed to eating out at restaurants, to eating out in public at all. Most of the time they would dine at their estates or the estates of their friends, and maybe once in a while at a very nice hotel at the dining room there, if they were, say, in London for the season, abroad. But even that was not very often done. But some of the younger aristocrats began going out more and more, and they say that the transatlantic experience of dining was a catalyst, or one of many, I should say, to help popularize and familiarize the upper crust with the idea of dining. Yes, exactly. So you will notice that the food tonight is, very fancy, very hoity-toity, as it were. Yes, so it was a very fancy experience. That's true, in part. They did call the restaurant on the Titanic the Ritz. However, it wasn't actually associated in any way with the Ritz. In some ways, that was just a bit of a shorthand for a fancy restaurant. So it was something that the passengers started calling the restaurant, and I think if it would have gone on that way, perhaps the owners of the Ritz would have intervened or had some mediations, so we'll never know. Exactly, that does bring us to the tragedy of it all, and we try not to dwell on this aspect, but I will tell you it's something that the team thought about very deeply before providing this menu as part of our season. We wanted to make sure that it was a celebration of life and a chance to bring history to life rather than dwelling on the loss and tragedy of it. And so we have been thoughtful in trying to make sure that we do things as accurately and authentically as we can. The chef made a wonderful point, I think, in talking about it, saying that, this moment for many, and for survivors of the Titanic have actually talked about this, that this meal, that these chances to dine were some of the last moments of life as they knew it, sort of before and after. And a lot of people still talked about it very, very fondly, and so we try to think of it as a celebration of all of that, and also a critical exploration of just how perhaps overly luxurious or even wasteful some of the traditions of dining in the past may have been. The menu originally would have been prepared with the expectation that a lot of it would not be consumed. There was always an idea of a very full table that looked like there was excess of everything to express abundance, wealth, and comfort. And so in the spirit of honoring that, we have, of course, presented to you a full menu of all of the items that were offered. However, in the spirit of perhaps engaging with it a bit more critically, we have cut down on the portions so that it's a more realistic size of each item, allowing you to sample and savor all of the delights found on the Titanic without the intentional waste. We've also made sure to source our ingredients from environmentally conscientious providers and get them locally and in season where we can. Yes, this is certainly a difference. The Titanic, in fact, would deliberately serve, and you'll see this in just a moment on the cocktails here, that they would deliberately serve, even as just a garnish, certain kinds of fruit, vegetables, and ingredients in general that might have been hard to source seasonally or would have been impressive to acquire. Let's get into your cocktail menu then. And just to be sure, you would like to begin your meal with a cocktail? Wonderful. Just so you know, we do, just like on the Titanic, we do feature a full wine list, and we have champagne. Yes. But you would like to start with a cocktail. I think that's very signature. The cocktail hour, or any time really on the Titanic could be a cocktail hour, was an important part of the voyage. Yes, in some ways it was a celebration of the moment and enjoying it, but for some people, passengers crossing from Europe to America, especially for the first time, it could be a bit of an education or an initiation into American culture. In American high society at this time, the idea of temperance, the precursor to prohibition, was sort of heating up, and it was becoming, in some places, harder to get both the quantity and variety of spirits that people were used to. Yes, so, well, the idea of the cocktail was not invented in America, in the United States. The popularization of it and many particular cocktail recipes do come from America in this time. Yes, because people were trying to both stretch the amount of liquor that they had access to. So a cocktail helped you to, stretch that farther. Yes. They might attempt to conceal less desirable flavors with add-ons, mix-ins and things. Yes, garnishes, mixtures, tonics, things like that. So that's where a lot of this comes from. And so if you were, say, sort of stuffy European elite coming over to the United States for the first time, you might want to know what cocktails were fashionable. So here is a list, and if you'd like, I can just read them to you. So just to go down the list to begin with, we have the Robert Burns, the Clover Club, the Bronx, the Knickerbocker, and Punch Roman. And I will tell you about each of these. So let's start with that Robert Burns. Yes. And I can just read the menu if you would like, if it's hard to see in here. Alright, so the Robert Burns, named for the revered Scottish poet. This was the cocktail to tipple or toast New York's Waldorf Astoria, a famed hotel owned by Titanic passenger John Jacob Astor the Fourth. Yes, the Astors. A harmony of smoky Scotch and spicy Benedictine liqueur, finished with a velvety vermouth. It is served up sweetly with a buttery shortbread cookie garnish. Yes, they actually served it with a freshly baked shortbread cookie. Doesn't get better than that, truly. However, there are some other tempting options. Yes, excellent point. So this menu, which I will leave with you too, so that in case you would like to peruse it or make any other orders throughout the night, this menu is written by our staff. This is not the original text of the menus on the Titanic. However, these were all cocktails that were served. Now there were others, and the bartenders were very well trained, so they could make anything. But these were some of the most popular of the day. Yes. Yes, exactly. So, alright. So the next is the Clover Club. Named for the famed Philadelphia Social Club, this bright and fruity concoction was actually the height of masculinity, as the Clover Club itself attracted some of the most esteemed professionals in society, including President Grover Cleveland and actor Sir Henry Irving. This lively libation combines gin, fresh lemon juice, raspberry syrup, and egg white, shaken with ice until chilled and frothy, and garnished with 3 raspberries, 1 for each leaf on a shamrock, like a clover. Yes. The Clover Club, I believe, is still active. However, the drink itself is not as widely enjoyed any longer, and that may be because of the egg yolk. Yes, there are certainly some people who moved away from enjoying the drinking of raw eggs. We do offer it in its original form tonight, but you can also get that one without the egg if you would prefer it. Yes. Yes, we can customize any of these to your exact liking, of course. It's all first class here. Alright, so next is the Bronx. Another Waldorf Astoria homage. This one dates back to a bet made against celebrity bartender Johnny Solon, who was challenged to invent a new drink on the spot. The result was this instant hit, which may seem simple, but by utilizing oranges, still a real luxury in early 1900s America, proved a sumptuous sip. Gin is shaken in equal parts sweet and dry vermouth and a fresh orange, then served chilled with a twist of juicy orange. Yes, so this one is again another ode to the Waldorf Astoria. Again, having an Astor on board was a very, very big deal for the Titanic. So you can understand if they perhaps wanted to ingratiate themselves a bit to the Astors. Yes. Alright, and then we have the most fun cocktail to pronounce, the Knickerbocker. Knickerbocker, Knickerbocker, Knickerbocker. Yes. So this Caribbean-inspired cocktail is the precursor to the heavier, rummy tiki drinks that would eventually define happy hour in the mid-century. A little lighter and more fruit-forward, the Knickerbocker combines tart raspberry syrup and lime juice with one full wine glass worth of Santa Cruz rum, poured over shaved ice and garnished with plump pineapple and tangy orange garnish. It takes its name from the style of pants once worn by Dutch settlers in 1850s New York, specifically after the term was used by Washington Irvine as his pen name, Diedrich Knickerbocker, under which he published the book A History of New York. Yes, it was a runaway bestseller that solidified the relationship between the word Knickerbocker and New York. Now to the last on my list, the punch roman. And the punch roman is neither a punch nor is it Roman. This crisp and chilly palate cleanser is said to have been served to popes as a saintly summer refreshment. However, it is not crafted in batches like a punch. A punch is crafted in big bowls usually, right? But it is carefully mixed by a bartender like any respectable cocktail. It was also the tail end of any 6-course meal aboard the Titanic, served to cleanse one's palate and refresh one's spirit between some of the savory dishes and the sweeter treats to come after. It starts with an egg white, rum, simple syrup, lemon, and orange juice in a cocktail shaker. First shaken without ice, it is then shaken till frigid and frothy as the Atlantic itself. Next, it is strained, poured over crushed ice, topped with champagne, and garnished with an orange peel. Now, you will be getting the punch roman as part of your normal prefix service because it is a part of the Titanic feasting itinerary. However, some people do like to start off with one. They are very refreshing and they are great for sort of neutralizing your palate to prepare. Yes. Goodness, it would be very hard for me to make a recommendation here. However, I have a bit of a soft spot for poetry and shortbread cookies, so I might recommend the Robert Burns, but I really do not think you can go wrong here. You'll try that? Great. Okay, so we'll start you out with Robert Burns, and if you decide you don't like it and you'd like to try something else, please just let me or any of the other servers know, and we'd be happy to help. Great. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the main menu. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this in your care right here at the table. Okay, and set that there. And now let's take a look at the Titanic menu. Like I said, these menus are replicas, and we have tried our best to make perfect replicas of the original print menus so that you too may take it home as a souvenir if you would like. Yes, so I'm going to leave you with these bits of cardstock just in case you'd like to keep it between them for safekeeping. But let's take a look, shall we? So, alright, so here is the replica menu. Now you'll see right away the symbol of the white star line, and it's beautifully foiled here, isn't it? You'll also see the RMS Titanic, and you will see the date, April 14th, 1912. So we will be able to look at exactly what they had on the menu that evening, and so I'm going to walk you through it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. Now, all of this will be served to you just as if you were a first-class passenger on the Titanic. Yes, they would have, like I said, been used to eating under white glove service in their own dining rooms, and very often their cooks would prepare too much. It was also a show of wealth and good manners to offer a wide variety of foods, so you'll see that here as well. So we're going to start with the hors d'oeuvres, and that would include oysters, consommé Olga, cream of barley, poached salmon with mousseline sauce, and cucumbers. Then you'll move on to a meal that is sort of getting into the entrees, and that's going to start with a filet mignon lily, sauté of chicken lyonnaise, and vegetable marrow farci. Good question. Many people have that question. The vegetable marrow farci is actually a dish I have tasted quite enjoy. It is essentially a zucchini, courgette, and it is hollowed out, and then inside it is a sauté of mushrooms and Parmesan cheese. It's quite good. Yes, it's something that I am hoping to learn to recreate and cook for myself. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you enjoy mushrooms and zucchini. Well, I hope you do. You can let me know. Yes, in fact, many people see the marrow and they think we're talking about bone marrow. This is one of the few dishes that's actually vegetarian, and the marrow is actually the zucchini. Yes. Okay, so after that, you move on to another course, and that will include lamb with mint sauce, roast duckling with applesauce, and sirloin of beef with chateau potatoes. You'll have green peas, creamed carrots, boiled rice. Yes, think a bit like a porridge. If you've ever had congee congee from like Southeast Asia. Similar, yes, very good. And then that will be followed by parmentier and boiled new potatoes. Yes. After that, the famous punch roman will be brought out for you to enjoy, and that will be followed by a roast squab and cress, a cold asparagus, and vinaigrette, all made here in house, of course. Finally, a pâté foie gras and celery. Yes, you may opt out of the foie gras if you would like, absolutely. I completely understand. I will make a note of that for the kitchen. And because of that, if there's anything that you decide you quite like while you're dining and would like a little bit more of, please let me know and I will bring that out instead. Perfect. So after that is the dessert course, and that consists of Waldorf pudding, peaches in chartreuse jelly. Yes, they're fresh peaches suspended in this sort of green jello type. Yes, it's much better than you might think. I urge you to give it a try and keep an open mind. But if you don't enjoy that, afterward there are chocolate and vanilla eclairs, my favorite. Yes, you really can't go wrong with an eclair, and these are especially delectable, I promise. Finally, those will be served with French ice cream. Yes, what makes it French? It is made with whipped egg yolks into a custard. Yes, and so it's quite a bit richer. A little bit less sweet than maybe some of the ice cream you might be used to here, but much richer. Yes, wonderful. And that will conclude your meal. Now I will tell you, as you probably read about the experience, here at the Chronicle Cafe, we take our time so that everyone can enjoy these. And like I said, your menu will be served as different lecturers are coming out to tell you different facts and stories about the Titanic and about the menu. And they will also come around in case you have any questions that you would like to ask about anything related to the menu, to the events around them. And please make use of that. Some people feel shy to ask, but our historians are here because they love talking about these things. So nothing would make them happier. Yes. Okay, so with the exception of the pâté de foie gras, you will be having everything else. Wonderful. You'll be starting with a Robert Burns cocktail, and like I said, I'll be coming around to check on you as we go in case you'd like another, or if you'd like to try anything else on that cocktail menu, which I leave in your care. I'm also going to leave you with this beautiful replica menu, and you can take that home. And so I will go ahead and, like I said, the menu is actually quite small, as you can see, but just to protect it from any spills or anything like that, we'll keep it safely enveloped in the outer layers for this evening. Oh, yes. Hours. I believe I've heard that on average it would take diners about 2 to 3 hours to work their way through the menu. Yes, it was served at each table on a different schedule so that diners would never feel rushed. And it might seem like a long time. However, on the Titanic, there was only so much to do, so the idea of being able to enjoy a long dinner and the society of maybe new people would be very, very interesting and diverting. Yes, exactly. You have to remember that these were people from a leisure class, and so to them, each meal was really an event. You would dress for dinner, you would be specifically prepared, and there would be rituals around dinner, perhaps drinks before, going through after, maybe the men to smoke cigars. And so there was a lot of ritual already around dining in these circles. And again, since most of them lived lives of leisure, they could take a good long time to eat. Yes. Well, tonight we encourage you to put yourself in that frame of mind. You are an important member of the upper crust of society, and we want you to just take your time to enjoy each course, to enjoy each bite, and to enjoy all of the facts and interesting stories you'll hear tonight. I have enjoyed getting you started on this journey, and I will be around throughout the night. Again, my name is Spring, and it's my pleasure to be here for whatever you need. Great. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and I will personally be back with that Robert Burns for you momentarily. Wonderful.